Good day, everybody, and happy Sunday. I hope you are doing well. I am Rev Melissa, and this is Living Life in Joy. Living Life in Joy. So, I am an ordained interfaith minister. I'm a licensed religious science practitioner. I'm a spiritual life coach, and I am the spiritual director and senior minister at Rockland Centers for Spiritual Living here in New York. And Living Life in Joy is a vehicle, a vessel, a opportunity for me to connect with other people who are connected to their yes. So I am excited about today's show. I'm excited about this month, June. It is Black Music Month. We are celebrating and honoring music this month, but we do this every single month, right? We don't need a month. We need it to be this way all the time. And so this month, my husband, who you all met last Sunday, is curating Living Life in Joy, Marco Nobles. And Marco is the co-founder of Enjoy Enterprises and the creator of Rhythm and Soul Radio. So I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled about this month. I'm thrilled about the artists that I will be introducing some of you to. I'm thrilled about sharing their work and what they're doing in the world to uplift positivity and say a good word, right? We need a good word these days. So without further ado, let's go, set, ready. All right, we're back. Welcome back to Living Life in Joy. I am Rev Melissa. And so it is my honor to introduce two dynamic women who are about their business and who are about making an imprint in the world through musical philanthropy. And you're going to be moved by what they have to share with us today. So I'm going to introduce them first via their bios, and I'm going to put up just the home page of their website while I share their bios with you. So first, Adina Nyree. Adina Nyree is a singer-songwriter, voice-over talent, former performance poet, entrepreneur, and healer. By day, Adina has run Adina's Touch Wellness for nearly 25 years, where she is a mental health first aid instructor, wellness coach, and healthcare apprentice curriculum trainer. That's a mouthful right there. She is co-founder and CEO and CFO for the 501c3 philanthropic arts collective Pay It Forward Electric Soul Tour. Her debut fusion album of poetry and soul music, Certified Organic, was released in late 2009. Adina has opened for R&B artist Melba Moore and Dwelle. She is currently working on her sophomore album, Stone, Flesh, and Love. And we're going to talk about some of the music that she's currently working on. Secondly, Lorenda M. Robinson. She is known affectionately as Lo by her friends and family. She gave her first solo performance of At the Cross at the age of 3. She is a recording artist as well as a sought-after jazz and R&B singer. She is one half of the eclectic soul duo Brown Baby Girl. She has opened for R&B notables Allison Williams and has performed at world famous Blue Note in New York and World Cafe Live in Philadelphia. She's also performed for the National Black Caucus of State Legislators President's Night Reception in 2008 and 2012. She further had the privilege to perform for the then presidential candidate and U.S. Senator Barack H. Obama doing a rally in New York City for his 2008 campaign. Lorenda is an actress, voiceover talent, and owner of Lorovo LLC. Her voice can be heard on a number of both television and radio commercials, as well as animated series and audiobooks. Lastly, and most importantly, Lorenda is a baptized believer, lover of the word, and child of the King. All right, now, Lorenda. Her motto is be blessed and be a blessing to others. All right, Adina and Lorenda. So let me just give them a little drum roll. All right, all right.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
was great. And I'm terrible. I left out what I do at Pie Fest. That's okay.
That's okay because we're going to get into it. We are going to get into it. So, first, I always like to find out kind of what your journey has been that led you to this call because it's a calling. What both of you are doing is a calling. So, Adina, let's start with you. What's your testimony? What led you to be a musician?
Uh, I think that was never what I thought I was going to do professionally, right? I always knew there was a love for music. I've had a love for music always. I think it permeates through everything I do. I have music Tourette's, right? And so I will make up a song for everything. But initially, I thought I was going into entertainment law to work with artists, not to be an artist.
Wow.
But I realized along the way that everything I do is about healing and love, right? In every space I work in, and music is no different, right? And during my time as a performance poet, which was never supposed to have been a thing either, right? So I feel like God moves you where you think you're not supposed to be, and I wound up doing several features at different venues. And at one venue, I had a bunch of blind people in the audience who said, "We cannot buy your book because we're blind, but all of your poetry has music and song. So could you please make an album?" So I literally set out to make an album for blind people I've never seen again. I've never gone back to that space. So I'm like, so that's the thing, like, it's like Jonah and the whale. So, that's not where I'm going to put you, but this is the move that you need to make in order to get to where you have to go. And so I literally started working on my album for blind people. Yeah. and then it got so expensive. I was like, oh, we have to really market this appropriately. This has to be a real job. It has to be a real career because I'm putting too much money and effort into this. And so therefore it must be more than just, my hobby and fun.
Yeah.
And it is a passion of mine. I think, I think I keep saying when I don't finish stuff that I'm therefore going to give up music, and then it has never happened. So clearly it's just not going to ever happen. And I will never buy into the "you're too old for anything."
That's right.
So,
that's right.
So this is what it is. And I guess we'll be making music until God tells me not to.
I love it. Made an album for blind people.
I love that.
Who I've never seen again.
I love that.
No more blind people, but
yeah.
Lorenda, what is your testimony?
That's so awesome, Adina. I don't know why. I feel like that's my first time knowing that was
the
catalyst. I'm like, that's fantastic. Mine is not as fantastical. It's more, I think, rooted in genetic predisposition, and force and bullying in God's name, said lovingly and jokingly. I'm a preacher's kid. My late father was a Baptist pastor, And so literally every church play, every Black History Month, every time somebody needed a recitation done, Lorenda will do it. And so somewhere along the lines, it started to shift for me to become less about, the train up a child element of it. And the more, as the old folks used to say, like, you got to know God for yourself. And when I started to realize that folks would have this very powerful, and sometimes it would throw me, reaction to the gift that I've been loaned. I knew that it wasn't me, and I knew that I was a vessel. Or when things would happen musically, both sacred and secular, where people were like, oh, girl, when you got to this part, you should do that every time you sing. And I'm like, I have no idea what I did because I didn't do it. So yeah, it's just been that. And like I said, genetic predisposition, literally on my father's side, from post-emancipation to present day, there's on the record something like 52 ministers, evangelists, pastors on the Robinson side alone. And that doesn't count deacons and missionaries and women who are now elders and occupants of motherboards across the South. So it runs in my family. So to try to run from it would be absolutely foolish. God knows exactly where I am.
Right.
And that's why I always say I'm grateful for the gifts that have been loaned for God's use and God's service. Because
Beautiful.
as Adina said, it is healing. It heals me.
Yes.
And has many times.
Yes, music is an elixir for me. And my cat is determined to be on the show today.
Listen,
Okay, David,
Right.
here you go. Okay.
So
here
everybody can see how unbelievably adorable you are. It's like, you need more cute factor. That's what you need, Mom. More cute.
I think maybe you say, I haven't seen Adina since I was a kitten.
I know.
She might recognize your voice. You never know.
Okay. Well, thank you both for the backstories. That's incredible. And so how did this synergy happen between the two of you?
Oh, that's an interesting story in itself.
Okay, do tell.
And there are various versions pertaining to length. So out of respect for time, Adina and I met many years ago in New York, and in our becoming acquainted with one another and fostering our friendship, discovered that we had literally hundreds of people in common from our collegiate days, and we somehow never managed to connect. And in any case, Brown Baby Girl had been performing for quite a while. Adina and Nyree had been performing for quite a while. And she and I were having brunch one day in Harlem, honestly. And we were talking about wanting to do something where we could combine our love of music with our desire to be of service and be helpful to other folks. And we wanted to come up with something where we could bless other philanthropic organizations that were doing good work in various communities, and where we could also develop an artist collective where we could help our fellow independent artists gain exposure in markets and to audiences that they might not have access to otherwise. And it's actually been easier to get folks to be like, sure, you can donate some of the proceeds from your fundraiser to us, than it's been to necessarily get other artists to come on board. But we have over the years been able to expand our roster, and we continue to do so. And that's really what we want to do. It's the two-way blessing. It's the quid pro quo in like the most positive sense of the word.
Yes.
I'm not so much about kickback, back scratch, but more, listen, you can bless somebody and get blessed at the exact same time. Like, you don't have to starve so somebody else can eat. And then we just said about it. And we're like, well, we need artists. And I was like, well, we'll start with what we got. So we started with us.
That's beautiful. So you both are independent artists, and Marco was sharing last Sunday, his love for independent artists and to be able to provide platforms for their work. So as independent artists, speak a little bit about what both of you are doing individually, and then we'll circle back to talk some more about your collaboration through Pie Fest. So Adina, I know that you're working on your sophomore album. So please share about that and how we can support your work.
Absolutely. So the sophomore album is called Stone, Flesh, and Love. A departure from certified organic. The first album was very much heavy towards the socio-political side, with a few love tracks popped in there. Um, and it was certified organic, in that everything was about growth and space. But Stone, Flesh, and Love has been the journey from the end of that project, which was made with my late ex-husband, Trevor P. Allen. In terms of, it was a tumultuous time after certified organic, and I went through a place of feeling very hardened towards love. And then a space of really just occupying, like, yeah, you're only good for one thing. And then being ready to embrace love wholeheartedly again. And so it really is the journey of stone, flesh, and love, like being so, hardened in your heart because of everything you've been through. And then, trying to find that space of getting back to where I've always known myself to be. It was very odd not to be in love. Like you say, in joy. I'm like, I'm in love all the time. Like, not in love in the romantic sense, but I live my life in love, right?
Yes.
And so it has been that. The hopefully to be released by the end of this year single. It's completely finished, other than my producer and drummer are not quite aligned with where they are. Literally, like, the drums are just slightly off. So I cannot send the track to be mastered until they are in alignment.
Okay.
Primarily because my drummer plays it all the time for us. And I don't want him to feel any type of way.
Okay. So we are looking for alignment.
Got to get alignment on that. And then hopefully at least the single will come out. I am still a musician who does all of my music with real musicians.
All right now.
So it's not cheap. So I do have a campaign going on my website where people can pre-purchase the album. I don't know when the album is coming, but once it's here, you will be a recipient of the album that you have pre-purchased.
Yes.
And there are different tiers and all the different swag that goes with the different tiers on my website, which is adinanyree.com.
Okay.
And so hopefully once we reach, we were able to raise $5,000, which is about a quarter of what I need to make this album happen. So during a what was those things that we had? Indiegogo. I was like, what was the platform? So we did an Indiegogo campaign, and now I've just officially moved it to my own website. So
okay. All right, folks. So whoever hears this, if you're thinking about how can I support, here is one way that you can support. And I'll have everything in the show notes. Her Adina's website, Lorenda's website, information about Pie Fest will all be in the show notes. So Lorenda, what are you working on and how can we support?
Well, I was trying to think of positive adjectives. So,
okay.
As it pertains to Brown Baby Girl and future music from Brown Baby Girl, it's almost amusing to me how much material Jamie and I have in the can that literally only he and I have heard for years. So initially I was like, it's the dormant phase, but it's not. It's the incubating phase. So I think because of various life shifts and changes on his end and mine, when Adina was mentioning drummer and producer alignment, I was like, yes, alignment, touch, agree.
Yes.
It's us not that there's any discord in our relationship. It's
Yes.
just there's been different things going on where he and I have not been able to connect and do what it is that we do when it's just me and him locked in the studio together.
Yeah.
But Brown Baby Girl is still very much so alive and well. She's just in the incubator. She is not in the ICU. And I'm grateful, though, for one of the myriad reasons for my creative energy being diverted somewhat is that my voiceover business has taken off quite a bit. And I'm so thankful and grateful and quite frankly overwhelmed. And I remember my mother saying to me, well, you know, just keep churning, the butter will come. And I remember about 6 months after my dad passed, he came to me and he said, don't fear, God will provide. And I remember that clear as a bell, like clear as I'm talking to you two. And so to be in a position where I've had a couple of national ad campaigns, be on the radio and TV, you know, to have my Southern auntie call me and go, baby, that girl sounds just like you when I saw that commercial, 4-Wheel of Fortune. Yes, ma'am. That was me. So just seeing how God opens doors. I mean, I don't want to eat up too much time with this, but literally what kind of caused me to segue into it, I'd been doing it off and on kind of as a help to friends who worked in advertising, et cetera, for many years. And then back in 2015, the not so corporate, but corporate gig that I had, literally the warehouse facility my former employer had burned to the ground. So this was almost a year to the date after my aunt and my father died. And then my job died. And I had to do something. And I knew that while I had the aptitude and the intellect for it, I'm not anybody's corporate person. And I kind of feel as though some of the artistic things that I coulda, woulda, shoulda, I didn't, because it's nice having, you know, checks every 2 weeks. It's nice having retirement funds. That stuff is really, really nice. It's nice getting paid when you are not feeling well. But it also sucks up 8 to 10 hours of your day, helping somebody else's business or dream manifest and develop. So some of those losses were actually probably the most helpful kick in the pants that I needed. And so now I just kind of laugh because everybody's like, what do you do for a living? Run my mouth. And read.
I love that. Hello. I love
be
that.
More perfect for running their mouth and reading.
I love it. Well, let's talk about Pie Fest. So I'm just going to make Adina larger just for a moment. I'm going to take myself and Lo out just because I want everyone to see the background.
Can I?
We can see it. We see it. We see it.
Please don't injure yourself in the name of.
Let me see something. Okay, that's even better. Okay, so Pie Fest. It's an acronym for
Play It Forward Eclectic Soul Tour.
Okay, and you shared the purpose of Pie Fest, and you have an event coming up soon.
So I will actually, since I did say that I was the CFO, I will let Lorenda share her position in Pie Fest.
Oh my goodness! Oh yes, that's right. I'm just the CEO. I don't really. I have a very small role in the organization.
So we are co-founders.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, your wonderful husband and life partner is on our board, and we are so grateful to him. He has literally, you both have really just been a blessing to both of us since the hello. And the fact that the friendship and the familial now feeling and connection has lasted. I'm not going to say how long just because I don't tell people's ages. I know some folks like to tell folks ages. I'm like, are you going to put me on your insurance? Why do you need to know how long God left me on earth? But lest I tell our respective ages, it's been a long time. I'm grateful, because we've been friends longer than some folks managed to stay married. So we're grateful for that. So we have this year we're doing a summer series,
Mm-hmm.
an intimate musical garden series, which is going to be held in Adina's beautiful and palatial backyard in the
Yes.
gorgeous village of New Rochelle.
Yes.
And it's going to be a 4-part series. So we are going to have a performance on July 30th, on August 13th, on August 27th, and closing out on September 17th. So we
Mm.
have one of our Pie Fest All-Stars, Ace Livingston. He's going to kick off the series. And then he's going to be followed by Ray Walker, who I don't know if you're familiar with Ray, but she is a tremendously talented young lady, singer-songwriter,
Mm.
guitarist, masterful storyteller, and another just absolutely beautiful and spiritual
Mm.
creature. You feel where she's coming from when you hear her. And then we have a Connecticut artist, since Pie Fest was actually founded and organized in Connecticut.
Mm.
Because even though, I live in a border town, as does Adina, so you can kind of put one foot in Connecticut and one
Yeah.
foot in Westchester. But we have an artist coming down from New Haven, Lamone, and he is an R&B artist, and he's been at this for a long time. Actually did some shows back in the day with One Nation Under the Soul Shack,
Mm.
Pam and Detrell, and we did a Connecticut hit up here with Lamone some years ago, and he is a phenomenal entertainer. And then Brown Baby Girl will be closing out the series in September. So it's going to be a nice evening under the stars,
Mm-hmm.
with the stars. And when I say with the stars, I mean everybody that's there, because we're all made up of the same
Yes.
beautiful stardust that creates the celestial bodies. So none
Yeah.
of us outshine the other. We'll just be there, shining together, like one of my favorite hip hop songs used to say.
I love it.
But as a nonprofit arts collective, this is our annual benefit show or series this year. Normally, we do one large
Right.
event, but
Mm-hmm.
in the COVID era, we've been figuring out new ways.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we had a virtual live stream. And so this year, as we return back to being in person, but still not quite ready to be
Yeah.
inside,
Yeah.
we are doing this intimate garden series. So it actually, I think, will be a tremendous time because you get to be up close and personal
Yeah.
Mhm.
in the space with the artist. I know Ace loves to be in his audience. He is good
Yes.
for popping off the stage into a smaller audience. So, he likes to
Get in the mix.
Absolutely.
take
Oh,
his mix
Adina
out.
befriend me and mention to the people, only because, of course, that quickly I put my notebook down, which means anything I put down falls into the abyss. We always have a community partner, even when we have our fundraising events for us. So there's always a philanthropic organization that we also make a donation of some of the proceeds. So if you would share who our partner this year is.
So absolutely. So this year we will be partnering with the Ruth and Harold Chenvin Foundation for the Arts, and they have
Mm.
been around for over a little over 40 years. I believe it's 40 years or 40 years plus. I'm pretty sure
Wow.
it's 40 years plus. And they do grants for artists, for visual artists, and some of their artists have gone on to be quite famous.
Mm.
But they have a wonderful time with getting all their grants applications through their committee. And
Uh-huh.
it's kind of hard. They're always like, oh, it's so hard to find, to narrow down because there's so
Yeah.
many talented artists. And we find that same thing. I was like, I know it's hard for us when we're trying to figure out who do we want to bring into the Pie Fest collective, because there's so many talented artists that we want to be with us. And so their journey is to provide grants for artists to be able to get their work done, and
That's
then to
true.
be able to have it showcased in museums and art galleries
Wow.
and places. And some of this stuff is so phenomenal. And I'll make sure that you have the link for their
Oh, absolutely.
foundation, because if you just see just some of the past award recipients, things that, I mean, we're talking about real art,
Yeah.
Like should be in, Schaumburg, should be
right.
like just
All yes, absolutely, just phenomenal artists. And so I think it's
Uh-oh.
really, we have done so many different works over the years. Our mission is to fund our long-term goal of music therapy programs for seniors and disabled children. But our goal for giving back to the community, we've worked with so many different types of organizations, from scholarships to the very first nonprofit daycare in New York, right? And what else?
Community
can you
service
hear me?
organizations. We can
Yes.
hear you, but we lost
Okay,
your
you can't
lovely
see
face.
me.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's some technical thing happening right now. So I don't know what it is, but I'm going to wrap up the show and figure out what's happening right now. So we didn't get to the joy questions. So let me just wrap it up by saying, please, everyone, support Adina and Lorenda. Support Pie Fest. I will have everything in the show notes for everyone to be able to access. Thank you both so much for being on the show. I so appreciate the both of you. I love you, and I'm
Love
just
you
excited
too. Our
about
pleasure.
what's coming up for the both of you. Peace and blessings, y'all.
Thank you.